Painting with Judge time. We have a little baby dragon.
In the way the planet is spinning and what is happening,
Let's see.
very fundamental changes. Somewhere between
What colour are we going to make him? Orange, I think. Orange always goes good with dragons. We're going to airbrush the little sucker.
Only up
But
to
first,
33 degrees latitude.
we need an undercoat.
Your system. Your system.
So let's go get this undercoat done.
It is a possibility.
Okay, let's undercoat this dragon. Matte black. Okay, that's it. And we get a bit of white for the highlights. .45-degree angle. That's it. He's done. It's pretty simple, really. Mind you, I've been doing it for a while, so it doesn't take long once you get it all sorted out. And now we need a little bit of drying time. See you back inside. Okay, back to painting with Judge.
Judge sitting on high, but a musician.
Okay, so we have our dragon.
Wouldn't it make sense?
He's dry.
That we
He's
are
ready to
not
go.
march, but to dance. When you begin
We've
to
got our
do
colours.
so, you realize that acting
Red.
as if nothing matters is not nihilism, it's clarity.
Orange.
It's seeing that our seriousness is self-inflicted.
White for the eyes.
That the meaning we chase
Sky
is
blue
already
for the
present
eyes.
in the very act of
It's a bit of a
living.
cartoon
To act
character,
as if
so we're not
nothing
going to go
matters
too
is
heavy on the
wholeheartedly
different
knowing
colours.
there's nothing ultimately
And
at
we're going to
stake.
airbrush him.
So, the question arises,
So we have our
if
airbrush.
you truly accepted that nothing
All
matters
clean, ready to
in
go.
the grand cosmic
Compressor on.
sense, how would you live? Would you collapse into despair? Or would you laugh deeply, freely at the miracle of it all? For maybe the divine trick of existence is that only when you stop clinging to significance does life reveal its genuine significance. That is the beginning of freedom. To see through the great pretending and recognize that the play was never meant to be taken so
Okay,
damn
we're going to
seriously.
start with the darker colour. We're going to start with the red.
People hear the phrase, act as if nothing matters. They often recoil. They say, well, if nothing matters, then what's the point of anything? Wouldn't the world fall apart? But that response only shows how tightly they've
Probably
clung to
enough.
the
We can
idea
always top it up
that
if we
meaning
need
must
to.
be manufactured, that without it, we would crumble. In truth, this clinging to seriousness is the very root
bit of
of
water in
our
it.
collective anxiety. It is a kind of tension we have mistaken for morality. We think the responsible person is one who worries, one who is perpetually burdened by the gravity of life. But the trouble with that attitude is that it turns living into a form of performance anxiety. Every moment becomes an exam. You could say modern culture is addicted to purpose. You must have a career purpose, a relationship purpose, a spiritual purpose. Even your leisure must be purposeful. We have forgotten how to simply be, to let a moment unfold without justification. If you sit quietly and do nothing, Someone will ask, what are you doing? And you will feel obliged to invent a reason.
We want a nice
I'm
coat,
meditating.
but we don't want it too thick because we want to let
Or
all
I'm
that
recharging. You
undercoat
can't
colour
simply
come
say,
through as
I'm
well.
being. Because in the cult of seriousness, being is not enough. So we live under constant psychological strain. We measure our worth by output, by the applause of others, by imaginary metrics that never stay still, and the more we chase significance, the more it eludes us. It's like trying to hold sunlight in your hand. The tighter you grip, the more it slips away. The real burden of seriousness is that it closes your senses. You become deaf to the laughter of existence, blind to the subtle poetry in the ordinary. You forget how to play. You forget how to listen. You forget that you are part of something much vaster, and that this something is not a machine demanding results, it's a mystery performing itself through you. I once said, the meaning of life is just to be alive. It is so plain and so obvious and so simple. And yet everyone rushes around in a great
Just wait for a
panic,
moment, we'll do a
as though
second
it were
coat.
necessary to achieve something beyond that. You see, our seriousness is not a sign of wisdom. It is a symptom of forgetfulness. We have forgotten that the whole show is spontaneous. Nobody started it. Nobody's running it. It's just happening. When you take things too seriously, you shrink the universe down to the size of your personal drama. The mind becomes a little echo chamber, endlessly repeating, what should I do? How should I live? What if I fail? And all the while, the trees grow without asking permission. The rivers flow without consulting a plan. And the stars burn joyfully with no one to impress. To see this clearly is to begin laughing, not a mocking laugh, but a liberating one. You laugh because you realize that all your worries were self-created theater. You've been standing on the stage so long you forgot it was a stage. You mistook the costume for the skin, the act for the essence. Now, that doesn't mean we should abandon our responsibilities or become indifferent to others. Far from it. It means we should handle our responsibilities with the grace of a dancer, not the stiffness of a soldier. To care deeply and yet lightly, that is the art. You can love fully without taking your love as a test of worth. You can work diligently without turning your work into a cross to bear. The sage acts as though nothing matters, precisely because he knows that everything does in its own unforced way. The tree doesn't try to be significant. The bird doesn't struggle to justify its song. Yet both are perfect expressions of the universe.
We'll just give that a little
We
bit of drying
humans,
time.
though, have developed a peculiar arrogance. We imagine that cosmic importance must be earned, as if existence is a contest judged by some celestial panel. So we burden ourselves with constant seriousness, thinking it makes us more noble. But in truth, it only makes us more miserable. Try this. Imagine for one day
Okay, we'll just go
that
wash
there
the
is no
paintbrush
script
out.
to follow. Imagine that every action you take is not being recorded in the book of destiny. How would you walk? How would you breathe? How would you look at the person beside you? You might find yourself moving more fluidly,
Be back in a
speaking
sec.
more gently.
Okay, we're back. So we've got the red done. Heavy enough for a full coat, but we can still see the black coming through, which is part of the shading. That's the idea. Okay, we've got our airbrush primed and cleaned, and now we're going to do a coat of orange. You sort of got to use a bit of intuition. Practice, in other words. So we're going to turn our airbrush down a little bit, and away we go. Fuck, that's magic.
Hello.
do with him. A little bit more highlight on the forehead there, a little bit on the nose, and down the belly. That is beautiful. That is spot on. Okay, now the tricky bit. Time to paint the eyes. Two coats. Eyes are always a head fuck. No matter what model you do, the eyes can make it or break it. And they're so fucking finicky and tricky. Rush the eyes. Try not to stick your fingers in it. And if you do stick your fingers in it, make sure you don't leave fingerprints over the rest of the model. Eyes dry. Don't rush the eyes, especially when you got some runny paint on there. There's a reason I'm leaving it upside down like that. Come back to it in a second.